What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PixelPlay Sidequest, the only place where I don't know, we come up with something randomly new and we just kind of go with it. But hey, sometimes you got to do that. My name's Adam, aka CS Radical, joined as always, Jen and Chris. We are here to do something a little bit different, as I said. Blueprints is suddenly being very popular all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Like very.
Yeah, you know,
Like very popular.
it's definitely getting some attention. I mean, obviously there's some game of the year talk already about this thing. Granted, it's April. There's a lot still to come, but you know, that's still something you're surprised to hear about an indie game. Doesn't happen very often, unless it's Balatro. Which, speaking of, so I'll just move over to the game screen here. So if you want to know what my thoughts are on it, now I've probably talked about it already. We record this before the main show, so you've probably heard me talk about this already on Wednesday's show. I'm addicted to this game. How do you know? 18 hours. You're like, okay, that's time. That's just since Sunday. We're doing this right now on Tuesday.
Yeah, and when you say 18 hours, you might as well say 19. Those 3 minutes.
No. It's clearly says 18. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no,
So,
totally
yeah.
18.
I've played this. I'm willing to say that this is more addictive than Balatro. Now,
That's insane.
that being said, as a caveat, I don't know if I'll be playing this game when I inevitably beat it, because this is you keep going till you win, and then that's it. It's not like Balatro where it's you win a run, but there's still all these other things to go on afterwards. I have not won the game yet, so there's still some work to be done. But I figure, hey, this is getting popular. Let's try something different. We're just gonna shoot up a round and right from the very beginning and just kind of give you guys an instant. Now I say us, I mean me. Chris hasn't played this.
Yeah, you. I haven't touched it at all.
So the idea is that I'm going to go through at least one round. We'll see. It depends on how the RNG goes. But I'll explain things as the run goes. Chris, obviously, if you have any questions, you know, obviously you can throw that in there. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers. And by spoilers, I mean like puzzle answers and stuff like that. I'm just going to deal with like the basic roguelite elements of this game. I'm not going to go around and do like, oh, I'm going to tell you how to unlock safes or stuff like that, because there are little things here and there. I'm just focusing on the main mechanic of the game, which is essentially like building rooms and trying to get deeper to the final room. The gist of the story of this game is that you have inherited basically the entire inheritance of like this really rich, I think it's uncle of yours. But the only way you can actually get this inheritance is by finding the 46th room in this mansion. And it's a mansion that apparently changes its design every single day. So
As mansions do.
That's where this blueprint is. There's a grid of, obviously, as you can see, 45. So there's a lot of things to go through here. Now, the letter at the start of the game gives you kind of a brief thing about the rules. This is all just story stuff. These are the three main things to worry about. You cannot bring any tools or items from the outside, so there's nothing that you're coming in with. Anything that you find on the estate does not get taken off the grounds. Essentially, that means after every day it resets. So whether it's keys, whether it's special items, money, it all does not carry with you. There are rooms that can help you with that, and there are things you can unlock later in the game that can change that. For example, I start every run now with 2 gems, which is a currency for building special rooms, and I think like 8 coins. So as you go forward, you can eventually build stuff to make the runs easier. I also do have more steps, which you can see at the top left of your screen. It's at 50. That's the default. I now have 70 in my runs. So essentially, every time you go from one room to another, it's a step. If you get to 0, your run ends immediately. There are ways to replenish your steps, but essentially you have at minimum 50 steps between rooms. So if you go into the room here and back, that's going to be 2 steps. That'll be 2 steps. So you got to be careful not to backtrack too much. So for starters, I'll just open up one random door. Every time you open a door, you're going to get 3 different picks. Generally, at the beginning of the game, you want to try to get as many open doors as you can because you want to try to extend stuff. So the hallway, for example, and also by hitting the tabbed key or whatever your control, I think it's left trigger on controller, you can show like what your current map is, so you can kind of see like where things will end up. These doorways are always going to be fixed. You can't flip the room or anything. It's always going to be what it shows at here. So If it ends up being here, it's always going to point to the left. If it's here, it's always going to point outwards. You can't flip the room so it goes completely forward. So we'll start with that. I usually try to just open all 3 of these to start, just to kind of get a sense of what I've got. So we've got a couple where we can get some corners in. And you'll see too that some of them are showing like they have certain items on them. So like the one I just unlocked gives you a key automatically. This one I'm going to unlock here is a puzzle. So I'll start with the puzzle room just to kind of give you a sense. So the parlor, which is where we're in right now, has a special thing here on the left-hand side. There's a little turn key. You'll need this. There are 3 boxes here, and the way that the game explains it is that all 3 of them, one of them will have at least 2 gems. Again, you can upgrade the room later to have more, or you can do other things with it, but only one box will have a prize. One of them will always have a statement that is true. One of them will always have a statement that is false. Sometimes it can mean 2 are false. Sometimes it can mean 2 are true. You have to kind of figure out which one is the true statement and what that means. So first statement here, this statement appears on another box. Second statement, the blue box is empty. And the third statement is this statement appears on another box. So that means that these 2 are true statements. So now it's a matter of figuring out what the box is. So it says the blue box is empty on this one. And that this could be, so I could be wrong in the way that it's going, but this tells me that this being a true statement, or these both are false, and this could be the actual correct one. So I'm kind of in a weird spot with it too, because if this statement appears on another box and this statement appears on another box, which is true,
yeah, those are both true.
And the blue box
sure.
being empty, that could be the false statement. So you know what? I'm going to take a stab here, see if I'm right. And there we go. So it's kind of just narrowing it down and trying to figure out like what meshes with the other. I don't know how much, because you're the Myst guy, Chris. I don't know how much puzzles are kind of similar to that. It definitely has a Myst vibe to it.
Yeah, that is very much a Myst-ish. I'd say Myst-light puzzle, because Myst gets ridiculous with its puzzles. I mean, this could too. This is the very early game, but yeah, that's a very Misty kind of puzzle right there for sure.
So you'll start seeing like color codings with these too. The reds are always bad. Not necessarily like super bad, but they will always either, like the lavatory literally has nothing in it and it's a dead end. It might as well just be a useless room. There are some, like there is a chapel, which every time you walk in, you lose a coin. There's one, I believe it's the gymnasium it's called, where you lose half of your steps. That's it. Like as soon as that room's summoned, half of your steps are gone. So you want to try to avoid them as best you can. Sometimes, though, they're going to give you a room where it's the only one with a door to move forward, and you might just be stuck with it. So sometimes that'll happen. I'm going to start with a bedroom here. And this room is a special thing because every time you walk in, it gives you 2 more steps. So it helps to have one of these. And that includes if you walk out and walk back in. It can. Now, each room will have things in it. Like there are things you can look at on the map. I'm not going to show like any of the ones that are important. Sometimes, and it's not in every room, there will be things on like the counter. I've seen things pop up on this, but it's completely at random. It's another set of the RNG stuff. So we'll go back. We had that room with the key that we summoned earlier. Always will be here. Sometimes you'll see stuff on the desk here. I've even seen keys or coins like on the floor here. And we haven't gotten to a room with a key yet. They will usually not happen in the early stages. This will be something more towards, like, once you get towards the halfway point, you'll start seeing more of them. Let's see, that's going to extend us a bit, and we want at least some more currency out of it. So the gem will always be on the center of the table for this room. Sometimes there's stuff on the desk. More often than not, I'll find a chest here in this room. Those can either be unlocked with keys. There's also an item called a sledgehammer that can just bash the padlock. So it just bypasses keys. It's just a matter of kind of figuring out like what items can get you further. Now I need to start being careful on what I pick here because I kind of need rooms because we're kind of running out of space already. So I'm going to cast the drawing room. The drawing room is actually nice because it gives you a free reroll. So that's a good one to have, especially when you're in the later games. So since this one's a dead room, I'm just going to cast a closet. And it's a really good closet. It's going to come with 4 items. A regular closet can have 2, but this is a walk-in. It has 4. And we're technically getting 5, but we're getting a key card, which is like a security door. So sometimes there are doors that aren't keys so much as they're automatic like electronic key card doors. And then we're also getting a couple of dice, which are like rerolls. So these are now like portable rerolls you can use.
I do have a quick question. What happens if when you're putting a room down, you've got like a room that has a dead end, and then you place a room next to it that has a door going, say, left into that room?
It just goes to a wall. Like, I don't have an example yet, but I'll show them when it happens. But yeah, it literally just, the door frame will change. It will just look like a boarded up wall.
Okay, so it does actually take that into effect and just kind of gets rid of it. Okay, that makes sense.
I'll just cast the spare room because it's the only one that takes us forward. I could re-roll now, but it's a little early. That being said, I could just get dead-ended here and it wouldn't matter, but we'll see. We're not getting dead-ended. And I'm actually going to open it up here. We don't have money either, so the chapel being drawn now actually doesn't affect us because we don't have money to lose. So sometimes there is a lot of strategy to this too. Like, when I play now, I'm still not like super selective on rooms. It depends on what I'm trying to do, because there are special rooms later on. Like, I have a room that I can unlock at some points in the game where it changes gems for unlocking special rooms to steps. So if I do that, I suddenly will change my strategy and try to get... There are rooms that can get you more steps sooner. There's a nursery room that for every bedroom you open, it gives you another 5 steps. So it really depends on like what you're playing as. But like in the early game, it's more just a sense of you want to kind of play around with the rooms and just kind of see where it takes you. You don't really want to like strategize too much because you're kind of learning what most of these rooms do right now. I have gems, so I can open this up a little bit more. I actually do like the courtyards. These are really good. Usually because there's a tool in them. This time there isn't, but there is a chest here. I'll save it for now because I don't have any more than 1 key. But you'll also see dirt piles. There is an item called a shovel that will also potentially dig items out of it. Sometimes they could be trash, but they could be keys. They could be coins. Sometimes they can even be like actually useful items. But that's really rare. I've actually gotten a deposit key out of it for a vault that I'd never come across before, and I've been playing for 38 days, and I drew that on like day 35, so it's not like a guarantee. You know what? I'm just gonna get the storeroom here, just because probably gonna dead end it anyway. So that gives us a coin, a key, a gem. Won't matter, the coin's about to leave. So the chapel takes that, but we got a key, so I'm gonna unlock that chest. And there's no, like, lockpicking thing. Actually, you do get a set of lockpicks that can, like, also RNG potentially open stuff. But doesn't always do anything. Okay, so we're getting a set of car keys. I won't say what this is for unless we come across it, but it's a special item that you'll eventually figure out as you go. So we've got 2 doors now, so that's going to need an unlock. I probably should have checked the other door first, but it gives us the observatory as an option, so that's actually what I prefer to go with. Let's just check the other door first before I do anything. That's a locked door too, so it wasn't going to matter. Okay. The observatory is going to be one of your most useful rooms. So, and this will carry over after every run since. So the only thing you got to do is you got to turn the actual telescope outside. So the one up here, there's a little latch here. And you just turn it all the way until it's all the way up so that it's fully raised. So it's done there. You go back down. And there will be that big wheel there. And we just turn it till it's now pointed outside. And you can see now in the top left where the steps are, there's now a star icon as well. That carries over every run. So every time you unlock an observatory, it adds another star to it. So every time you look at the telescope again, you'll get some sort of bonus. This one only gets you a coin, but I have like 25 points now. And you can get multiple... constellations. Some of them could be things like you'll get a couple of gems. Sometimes it could be you get a couple of steps. There's one that I think is like 12 stars that actually makes all items in the shops half off for the rest of the run. So there's a lot of variance to them. So if you ever see the observatory, and unless like you're desperate to get a room elsewhere, it's always good to pick it just because it adds up to later runs. I don't really need the kitchen for anything. I could redraw, but I'm not really desperate yet. Could use another key, though, if I want to check that other spot from the courtyard from earlier. There are ways to upgrade these rooms so that there are items that will start appearing them on them later, but most of the time, in the early stages, you can check around rooms and you'll sometimes find stuff, but most of the time, it's just a very blank room. It's really not until you get deeper into the game that you start seeing things here. And they all kind of have some sort of gimmick. Like the pantry here will usually have like coins and some sort of food to get you a little bit of steps. Again, there's going to be stuff there where I don't know if everything has to do with the puzzle. Sometimes it's just information. Sometimes it's just gibberish. And I think we're actually locked now because I don't have any more keys. Yeah, we're locked. So that's one run.
Oh.
Sometimes that's just how it goes. If I hadn't opened that chest, we might have been able to get a little bit further, but I got greedy. For the longest time, I've had runs go in one of two ways. I either die in like the first 3 rows, I just have really, really bad luck, or it's just because I started picking corner rooms too soon, or I get about here, and then I'm like 2 rooms away, and I can't. It's like Balatro when you either quit before the first round's even over because what you got is bad, or you lose to the wall in the last round.
Wow. Do you have to fill the whole map to get to that last spot?
No,
okay.
You can have runs where you could, if somehow you find a way to make it work perfectly, you could just have a straight line to it. I don't know what the odds of that are. I'm sure lottery ticket money would be probably about the same odds. I've only ever gotten to that chamber once. And that should tell you that that's not necessarily the end. That's probably the most spoilers you're going to get out of me. That took about 80% of the map. And also getting really, really lucky to the point that I finished that run with like 10 keys, 8 gems, and like 160 coins, just because that's how it ran. I'm not going to say most runs are going to go like that, but they can. It's like Balatro when you get pairs and you're just hitting 2 million for some reason.
Yep.
Sorry, what were you going to ask?
I wasn't going to ask anything. I was just going to say that this game, I can see how this is addicting. It reminds me, there was another game, like the Guild of Dungeoneering, I think it was called, where you built the dungeon.
I don't think I played it, though.
It looked like it was a hand-drawn game, like the animation style, and it's when you went into a dungeon, you built it as you went. So you could like build where there would be mobs and a boss and all that kind of stuff and build the dungeon as you go. This is obviously a much more expanded version of that because this is a puzzle where that was more a strategy game.
And there's also more outside of like this. Like there's a whole outside with puzzles and stuff that I'm not even going to go over, but it isn't just this house. There is way more out there too that, you know, when you read further sheets and stuff there and you look, you know, deeper into what's going on, you'll find more. But again, I'm avoiding that stuff just for this run. This is more of like your first 2 days now, because we failed so quickly. But so we're back to the puzzle. So I'm actually going to give you a shot, Chris, to see if you can figure out which of our boxes we got here.
Yeah,
so
all right.
I'll let you take a look.
Blue box is empty. Oh, did the paper say if it was?
It won't. It'll always say the same thing. It's always going to say that there's one statement that will be true, one statement will always be false, and only one of them is going to have a prize. So yeah, we got the blue box is empty.
Blue box empty. The blue box is true. This is the blue box. Okay, so that one is telling the truth at least. If that's the truth or not, who knows? The blue box is true. So those two are true. That one is false.
And that's assuming that that's what it could be. Like there could be a weird case where, you know, this is the only true statement and these two are just kind of misleading.
Yeah.
So sometimes what I try to do with these is I try to like, especially because it'll get harder as the game goes along too. Like these puzzles will start getting increasingly more difficult as the deeper you get. So that way it's not just like super easy every single run and this room is basically a cakewalk. There is also an upgrade that actually can give you 2 of these keys. So you can actually like give yourself a second chance. I ended up going with the option that got me an extra gem because I was looking more to that. I actually kind of regret that decision now. So I'm hoping one day I can get an upgrade disc and redo it. I haven't gotten that yet. But what I try to do is if I'm not sure, I try to take every single one of them and try to say, okay, assuming this one is true, how do these other ones shake out? And just kind of work out what the best solution is. So have you got like an inference based on these?
Oh, no, it's in the blue box.
Okay. Take a stab here.
Gotta be.
And you're right.
Yeah.
I was on the same track too, so. Okay.
I feel smart.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Well, there's eventually gonna come a choice where I'm gonna be like, all right, you tell me what you want me to do. But that was a case where it's like, no, it's a corner room. We need the key. It's just there's no choice. Let's see here. Okay. All right, I'll give you an option here. So we do have a path that we can still take on the left. So we could just go forward. There is this room here that, if anytime we get a bedroom from here on out, we get an extra 5 steps. This one is a special room. I'm not gonna say what it does, but there are puzzles related to it. But if you think in any certain way, I will say, delete a little bit. You've already spawned one bedroom, so there's not necessarily a chance you might see one. So usually I would lean here, but if you think any differently, I'm okay with that.
No, I understand what you were saying about the nursery, that we've already got the bedroom. Chance of getting another one, not too high.
There are others, I don't know but you don't know how much you're going to get, especially now that you've already spawned one.
Yeah. And the whole breaker box thing, since I don't understand it, I would just say spare room. And
yeah, if it comes up again and there's a room that corresponds to it, I might point it out. But again, I'm trying to avoid spoiling any puzzle solutions, because obviously I want people to figure that out themselves. This one is pretty straightforward. It's either a dead end or we get 2 paths. That's a pretty easy one. Okay, so there's a case where that's where that key card would have gone to that we got in the last round. So
yeah.
That's what we will need for the next one. So that's dead end. We got no items in here. Is that going to need a key? No, it's not. Okay, that's probably going to be a good idea to do. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I feel like chapel is the one we're going to need.
Okay, so we'll open this door. So there's a case where it goes to the wall. So that's what you'll see. Is there any chance there's anything on the ground? Probably not. I haven't been looking recently to see if there's anything, although it's early. Usually you won't start finding stuff on items until a little bit later in the run, so... Yeah, and I'll just make the drawing room. We still got the gems, and that also gives me a chance to put something extra into it. Anything hanging around? Nope. And then, so this is a case of this is where if you were really desperate, you could use that. And I think we might have to anyway, because we kind of need to go in a certain direction. Now and I'm going to show a little alternative. I could redraw as well. Do you think I should?
Well, it looks like that dark room, it's not pointing up, and then you need that key card to go up or you're screwed.
Yeah, unless we get lucky, because there is a door on the left, so we could get lucky and go up that way. But, if we redraw, there's always a chance that we could get something that turns us in the other direction.
Oh, okay, there's another one on the left. I thought this was the final room on the left. I forgot there's 5 rooms.
It's a grid of 5, so.
I'd say either the dark room or redraw.
Yeah, might as well redraw here. And, well, we're getting the same thing. We just don't have to worry about the dark room at all, which is fine. Basically, the dark room just means that when you go to select your choices, they don't show up. You'll see, the gem requirement on them, but you won't know what they are. So you could literally be just dead-ending yourself without knowing.
Nice.
So knowing that, and we're not going to be able to go back, I'm actually going to go and do the other route, because we might be able to loop them together.
That step counter, too. Holy.
Yeah, it really does help when you get later in the game and you start unlocking stuff. It really does. Oh. There's the one random item there. So this is a sleep mask. So every time you enter a bedroom, you now get... Or the first time I say you enter one, you'll get 5 steps instead of the normal 2. So in this one, this would have been great to have earlier, but this is now going to be a dead point. So I'm actually going to break out the breaker box, just in case, so people can see what that is. So as you open it up, this is a puzzle. I will not say anything about the VAC indicators here. That is a puzzle that you'll need to look at later. But there's a couple of things. So there's this switch, which is for the key cards. This now turns off the key cards. However, another room still is needed to be here to actually fully open those doors. This is literally just turning off the system entirely. So I'm going to leave it off anyway, because there might be a chance that we don't get anything. There's another switch here for the garage that'll turn on. These, I don't know if they necessarily do anything other than turn the lights off. I haven't tried that. I don't think they turn the effects off. And
I was going to say, I wonder if that turns off.
Just for the sake of curiosity, I'm just going to do it because I've never thought about it beforehand. But we'll see. I doubt I'll come across the garage here, but you never know. It's basically we'd have to pull it now on a very finite path, but we'll see.
I feel like that would turn off the effects to dark room. But
that would be the hope. I never did think. So now you can see it's off, but it's still can't open. There is another room that will actually allow for that. I just haven't opened it. And we might even just get really unlucky again and get dead-ended here, but we'll see. Nope, we will be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
We have 1 key, so we got to be careful if we do get one. And we got a storeroom, so that's actually helpful enough to make sure that we're not going to get keyed out. Sometimes there'll be items that pop here too. There is a little thing here that I know of. I don't know if it has any meaning. It's just a picture. Like I said, I don't know if everything has a meaning. Some of them may, some of them may not. And nope, we still don't have keys. And we're going to get another opening of 2. Okay, we're actually a little open again. So this room, anytime you get this room opens in, or actually no, sorry. Anytime that you get to the 8th row, which is what it means by rank 8, if you come back to the dining room, there will be a meal for you. And usually those meals will be like 20, 30 steps. So it's actually really, really good to have when you get into the later portions, when you've basically used up all your steps by this point.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And speaking of the keycard doors, there's the corresponding room we need. There's going to be a cutscene here. I'm just going to skip it, just because it's not what we're really after right now. There are 2 useful things about the security room, at least that I use consistently. So there's a computer here. So the first thing is this view estate inventory. This tells you anything that is in the open rooms that you have unlocked that you have missed. So whether it's items like fruit, gems, keys, or coins, and actually if there were like special items, like say the sledgehammer that I mentioned earlier, if there's one in one of the rooms and you missed it, it will say 1 sledgehammer on the right side there. This is saying we missed a trunk. Actually, I'm surprised. I did not see a trunk at any point in the map, but go back to the main menu. The other thing, as I said, with the keycard doors, so there's this thing. So it's currently showing as offline, and we can see a couple of things. So the security level, so this will do a couple of things. This will start fixing the map for the rest of the run. So if you turn it to low, you only get potentially in the entire map 1 to 2 keycard entrances at any point in the entirety of this game. If you keep it at medium, it'll be 3 to 4. If you keep it at high, it'll be 5 to 6. Now I'm turning it to high, and the reason for that is because we, earlier with that breaker box, turned off, oop, that's the wrong setting, turned off the key cards essentially. So what I'm going to do now is unlock the offline mode. So now anytime I go to that security door, it will automatically be unlocked for me. So these 2 rooms in tandem are great for that. Now, if you get a key card as well early and you come across the security room, you also want to change it to high because you already have a key. So that could actually prevent you from having doors that require normal keys because you now have a key card that can just get you through without any issue.
Yes. That makes sense. I like that.
So there is some upsides to grouping things together. Yeah, I have no idea where that trunk was. Okay, so there is a locked door here. I'm actually going to wait.
I feel like there was a trunk with a key requirement next to the locked door, the security locked door in the courtyard again. But I could be just remembering
that's
the
right. That's
first
where
one.
it was. You're right. Oop. Went into the store and back. I don't get lost at all when I play this game ever. Especially when you get in the later maps. Every time I walk into a room, I almost always like pop it up and be like, all right, which direction? Okay, that. And then I'll get into the next room and be like, wait, is it that direction still? Okay. So yeah, there's that again. So since we don't need a key for a hot second, I'll unlock it again, see if we get anything interesting. And we get another key back, and we get a couple other items. Not a big deal. So now, that'll just automatically unlock the door. And might as well just keep the path going. Get us some extra steps again, get us some more money. And... okay, so we're basically going to be dead-ended. So I just picked the one that will give us anything back, which is the guest room, because it gives us 10 steps. Basically just helps us come back. And look, now that I've unlocked the doors, now that I don't need a key card anymore, look what I got.
Yeah, that's a key card.
Yeah. There are certain spots that I don't know if anything sits on. Like, I've never seen anything on shelves and stuff, but I always get into a habit of, like, double-checking rooms, especially in the later parts of the game, because there's always a chance something could show up. And also, I don't know if there's a certain point that it just automatically does it. But as I've gotten later in games, I've just found food being left in rooms that I've already been in. So I don't know if, like, it just happens to post more, like, because they act like there are staff still that work here, like the servants and such. So there's still, like, potential room for there to be people to do stuff and leave food around. So, like, but sometimes you'll walk around, there's, like, a banana on the room or something. So Might as well bring this sucker up just so I can show the shop off. So sometimes there'll be days that have this. It's very late in the game that it happens, but realistically, it's going to be when you unlock that ability. So right now, we have enough for a shovel, or we have a... So the magnifying glass is really just for reading sheets that have to do with like the puzzles and stuff, so you don't necessarily need to grab it for every run. The shovel, on the other hand, could be. I'm actually going to leave it alone, though, just in case I might need gems later. Or actually, you know what? I'll buy 1 gem, because if I happen to get the passageway, I'm going to need 2 gems for it, because I know ahead of time. And no, Chris, unfortunately, the arcade game does not turn on.
Oh, come on. I was so excited. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's Yakuza. You can go into the arcade.
So sometimes there'll be other notes on the door. Now, this terminal password, I know what the password is. I ain't going to tell you, though. You can tell that there's an S in there.
Yeah.
You might be able to kind of make it out if you look at it hard enough, but I ain't going to help with that.
Is that where the magnifying glass would come in handy, or it's like you find it elsewhere kind of idea?
Yeah, you have hints elsewhere.
Okay.
And let's see. Oh, look, it almost... Oh, it's just dead-ended us anyway. Well. Well, then. That went well.
Could you not put a room here and then go to that security door?
No, as soon as you're in the draft screen, you have to place a room.
Oh.
Well, since we're dead-ended, let's see. Is there any different items? No, it's just a key in that. I can't even buy the shovel anymore, which sucks. That's no fun. I wonder if there's anything outside I can kind of show off. But otherwise, this will probably be the end of it. While I'm walking to the end here, is there anything you want to ask before that?
Not ask, but this, I can see how this is addicting. I can see exactly how this is super, super, super addicting.
If you ever have the idea of the one more run, this is the one more run game, especially when you get so close. It's just agonizing.
This is also not what I thought this game was. I thought it was like a survival horror and stuff when I was seeing trailers for it a few weeks ago.
I would not have been addicted to a survival horror game, okay?
No, that's why when you were like, oh, have you played this yet? We could use it for the side quest. I've been playing a lot. I was like, I feel like I am not thinking it the same way that the trailer made me feel like it was.
So as you can tell, there are things that lead outside. There's a door here that you can unlock later in a puzzle. There is an area down here. Oh, no, over there. There's a little area there with like a pedestal. That comes in handy later down the road. Again, won't say what that entails. And then out here, and unfortunately, it will take some steps, but not a lot. Thankfully, it's not like a massive distance thing. It is based on, like, I guess, quadrants. So, like, it will show... There's your little campsite. There's a room you don't unlock until later. And then over here, there's also a gate that you can unlock later with a safe that as soon as you know what the code is, you'll be able to get through there. And this is part, like, rooms like this door and the other door that I put on the other side, they're all doors that when you unlock them, they will lead to permanent upgrades. So the ones that I have, like I said, is where I get 2 gems at the start of every run. There's one that I get an extra 20 steps at the end of the run. And the one on this side that I showed at the start, that leads to a shed that is an extra room that has like special properties. So when I said earlier that there was a run that I had where instead of gems costing me for special rooms, it was steps, that shed out towards past that bridge is one of those rooms. There's another room that I like a lot called the shelter that actually for the first 3 red rooms you draw and place, they negate the effects. So like the chapel, for example, it forever negates you having to pay money every time you pass it. The dark room, you don't have to worry about, everything being pitch black. And that actually comes in handy for a puzzle too. So if you walk into the dark room with that negation, you can actually see all the pictures in the room, and some of them do relate to puzzles. And there's another one called the archives, which is my least favorite, so that every time for the rest of the run, every time you draft, one of the 3 choices is just a folder that says archived, so you have no idea what it is. So how the dark room keeps you from seeing all 3, the archive just hides one from you the rest of the run.
Oh, that's annoying.
So avoiding red rooms as much as possible helps.
Yeah, I think so.
That's kind of the gist of it. So again, do you have anything else you want to add?
I mean, I just think that not only is this game seeming quite addictive and awesome, it's one of those games that was launched on Game Pass as well as PlayStation Extra and as well as on, I don't know all the systems it's on, but I do know it's on Xbox, PlayStation, and obviously on PC. So it could also be on Switch. I don't know, but it's pretty awesome that it's so readily available everywhere.
That's probably
And
why it's
I'm
getting a lot of
definitely-
extra talk too, because it's so easily
Yes.
available.
Yeah,
But there was a lot
this
of
is one
hype
those-
because apparently the demo for this game got a lot of attention from people, so they were really excited to see that this game was getting posted to several services for basically no extra cost if you already have this subscription. So
Yeah, I'm definitely going to install this either on my PC or my Xbox through Game Pass. Like
I was
right
going to say
after
this is
we
a Steam Deck game
podcast.
for you for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I'm thinking I might want to play it there too. I don't know. It's tough.
Don't you have
because
the
I
ability to
kinda wanna
play
play it
Game
everywhere.
Pass with a Steam Deck or?
Yeah, you can stream either the cloud or you can stream your Xbox directly to the Steam Deck. So it is a streaming thing. I do where I do it from my Xbox to the Steam Deck. The at-home connection is just very strong because I've got decent internet for that. Yep.
Yeah. And at the end of every round too, just to add, like it will give you a sense of like what you did. So that way you can kind of get like most of the time this is really just, stats and stuff. What really helps for me is just kind of seeing like what I did and kind of getting a better idea of like, okay, maybe I should try avoiding these rooms when I come across it. It really depends. Like what my honest strategy is early is to try to get as many open pathways at the start. Like best case scenario, I get access to both these corners and potentially either straight ahead or at least through here as well. And then after that, I try really hard to avoid rooms like the den or the hallway until later in the game. Like unless I'm desperate, I try not to, because obviously when you get out here, you're going to be really desperate. And if you don't have gems, like there's that one that I showed you, the passageway that gives you doors in every direction. If you don't have 2 gems, you don't get that. And, you're going to feel really, really stupid when you're here and the passageway could have helped you get to this final spot, but all you have is a door that leads to a dead end. And you're like, well, great. Now I have nothing to this door. And now you have to go all the way back to say here and figure out, oh my God, like how am I going to get all of these cards to get myself up to this again? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like, there's a mixture of you want to be a little bold, but you also want to like be careful not to overdo it. And again, the big part of it too, you being the mist guy, like some of the puzzles are fantastic. There's actually, I'm surprised this never came up because I always come across this card, but there's the billiards room. There is a dartboard puzzle that it's getting harder, so I'm starting to hate it more, but like I love that puzzle because the stuff it gives you is generally pretty good. Like it'll usually give you keys. Sometimes it gives you some special keys that, again, won't say anything about what they do, but there are some special keys down the road that you can get to that can unlock more interesting rooms. But like it's simple puzzles like that really I enjoy a lot. The parlor can be hit or miss. I really am kicking myself for not getting the upgrade that gave me 2 of those keys. Would have made it a lot easier, because sometimes you don't necessarily need 3 gems. I'm just a greedy bitch and that's what I wanted.
Yep.
But yeah,
I can see that.
I will say after almost putting 20 hours into this game, I'm not gonna lie, I've had to Google a couple of things because eventually I'm like, I have no idea what this puzzle's expecting me to do. And after like hours of agonizing over it, I said, nope, I've spent enough time on this. We're Googling how to at least, I try to like see if I can get a hint first, and then if I still have no fucking clue what it's telling me to do, I'm like, all right, fine, we're scrolling to the spoiler section, don't care anymore. But I've only had to do that twice. There were just 2 puzzles that I'm like, this is way out of my jurisdiction, I can't figure these out. I'm too stupid for this. But maybe you folks that play this, you'll have better luck than I will. But either way, for those that are curious, how long did it take me to get to this? Day 32.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's a question. Is there a limit to days, or it just keeps going for as long as you go?
It just keeps going. The puzzles will get a little bit harder as you go along, but like for the most part, if you understand how the puzzles work, you'll eventually get to it. So it's not like it's a case of. And I'm sure actually now that if this game keeps getting popular enough, I'm sure somebody's going to make some sort of a web tool that will help with those puzzles too. I'm sure something will come out later that, especially for the dartboard puzzle, that people will just like, hey, put the put the corresponding stuff in here, and the calculator will do the work for you. I'm sure eventually that'll happen, because it happens with so many of these types of games where people eventually go, no, let's make this easier for people.
Oh, 100%. Oh, 100%.
But we'll see. It's obvious. I'm also curious what mods are going to do. I actually do want to look for a mod potentially that will. There's two things I'm looking at. One, it's to increase just walking speed. I think the walking speed can be a little bit faster, in my opinion. They may even just update that too in a future update. But the other one I want is like one that just kind of like hits a base level for how hard the puzzles can get. Because the dartboard puzzles, admittedly, now are getting to a point where it's not necessarily that they're hard, it's just time consuming, and I don't need to be spending 5 minutes on a single puzzle like that when I've done them like so many times now. So
yeah.
But yeah,
I could see that.
Any last words? Awesome. Otherwise, I think that kind of covers what I wanted to say on this one.
Nope, I'm going to be turning on my Xbox and installing this right after we're done recording.
Yeah. So yeah, that's everything I got. So like Chris said too, it's on Game Pass and it's on PlayStation Extra. So if you've got either of those subscriptions, take a crack at this. Even if you're not a big puzzle guy, like honestly, I've tried games like The Witness or Myst games, or there's one other, I'm just blanking on the name of it right now, but I know exactly what it looks like. But I'm not generally a puzzle guy. This one just scratched that itch, and I think it's the roguelite elements of like the room building that I really like. Because it gives me the similar feeling to like what Balatro does for me, where it's just every run is something different, so it just gives me a little bit extra to kind of mess with. And it's a great game just when I'm got like 30 minutes. I'm like, you know what? Let's do a run, see what happens, and just slowly build forward. And when I say one run, I mean 10, because I can't stop. But yeah, I've probably said it already on Wednesday. This is my current game of the year, and unless I don't think this is going to fall flat on its face at this point. I think as soon as I finish, I'll be like, I'm so fucking proud of myself. But yeah, the rest of 2025, you got some work to do. Have fun with that.
Yeah, considering how popular Balatro was last year and like was, at the Game Awards and stuff like that, another indie game.
I really hope that this keeps the hype. Because here's the thing, I love Balatro to death, and I may have a different feeling once I'm done this game. I love this more than Balatro, actually. Just because because Balatro is just literally just poker over and over again, this has a lot more differentiation to it, so there's a little more variety to it. Mm-hmm. This definitely feels like a game that I can pop in for 4 hours rather than Balatro, which can be an hour or two, depending on how much you're doing. So yeah. So I guess there's that.
I'm definitely playing it.
I've said enough good things about it. I'll probably be saying it, more and more as I get through this game further. But yeah, so check this game out, guys. We thought it'd be an interesting thing just to kind of take a look through it and just kind of give you guys an idea of what it looks like coming in. If you're curious about it, but weren't sure if this is in for you, we've given you like a brief idea of what this might look like. So if this is something you think that might be worth your time, especially if you got Game Pass or Extra, take a crack at it if it's something that even mildly interests you. I think you'll be more surprised than you think about what this is, because I went into this being like, we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to be too into this, and after like 3 runs, I was like, oh, this is bad. I can't stop playing this.
Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, that's going to do it for this Sidequest, guys. So thank you so much for checking us out here. So obviously, you got the link tree at the bottom of your screen there, link to our Discord, which is really the main reason you want to click that link. But obviously, like and subscribe, the usual stuff you got to do on YouTube. I'd say ring the bell, but y'all know. Every other person you subscribe to on YouTube tells you to ring the bell. I won't tell you to ring the bell. Actually, ring the bell. Please ring the bell. Ring the fucking bell. But yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next episode. Remember, Wednesdays at noon for the main show, Fridays at noon for the side quest. So take care. Bye-bye for now.